Speaking of MLW, they've signed a deal, MLW has, with the streaming service DAZN to be the first pro wrestling promotion to stream on the service, on the platform. Shows have already started airing on DAZN, including episodes of MLW Fusion. If you watch MLW Fusion on beIN Sports, fear not. It will continue to air on beIN Sports. If you watch the episodes on YouTube, maybe fear a little bit because it doesn't sound like they're going to be keeping them up on YouTube for much longer. I guess the ad revenue for them on YouTube is just not worth it. So for the time being, it's still on beIN Sports and YouTube, as well as DAZN. And apparently when live events resume, whenever that may be, they will have the ability to broadcast some of those live shows on DAZN. So they might be able to start having these live, maybe like monthly pay-per-view style events. They are said to still be in talks with at least one U.S. cable outlet. No word on which one that is. PW Insider did say that earlier this year, as recently as January, they were having discussions with ESPN. This was right before ESPN, the pandemic hit. ESPN picked up some WWE content. I think, didn't they air one of the WrestleManias on ESPN? It's like WrestleMania 3. And then I think they shifted all of the, classic WWE content pretty much over to FS1. In fact, this Tuesday, they're airing the 1996 Survivor Series, which is kind of random. But I guess the Survivor Series in 96 had the very first match between Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Bret Hart was going to actually be the guest on WWE Backstage Tuesday night. I guess maybe he'll talk about that match. That was, of course, the night, maybe this is why they're airing it, that was the night that The Rock, Rocky Maivia, made his in-ring debut on WWE television at Madison Square Garden. So FS1 is really become the wrestling channel. They're airing WWE content, a ton of it, every single week, and getting a few 100,000 viewers. They're probably getting more viewers for those shows than they are for WWE Backstage. talking about the current content. More people want to watch Survivor Series 1996 than listen to Christian and Renee Young talk about Jeff Hardy peeing in a cup on SmackDown. Go figure. So I don't know where those discussions were left off. If they have resumed discussions, maybe that's the cable provider that MLW is talking to. There were other rumors months ago that they had interest from Showtime, which is a premium cable channel. I don't know if that was accurate or if that was called off or if there's still interest possibly from that side. I don't see DAZN as a game changer for MLW the way that an ESPN would be, clearly. So it's nice that they were able to get this deal. I mean, look, anything they can do, any kind of deal they can make to get more eyeballs on the product is nothing but a good thing. But here's the thing with DAZN. DAZN was said to have 8 million subscribers at the beginning of the year. This is pre-COVID. Okay, 8 million subscribers, which is a lot more than the WWE network has. Most of those, though, were from outside the United States. The number I saw for U.S. subscribers for DAZN was around 800,000. Out of 8 million are from right here in the U.S. Now, what is DAZN? There was one article in the Sports Business Journal that referred to them, and maybe this is what they call themselves, I don't know, as the Netflix of sports. They have deals to air a lot of different sports. That's where the Bellator MMA shows air. Tons of other sporting events, live content. That's really what they built their business on. They built their business model on live boxing, big boxing fights that now aren't taking place because the world went to shit. They were in the news recently for telling sports leagues they would not be paying rights fees to them for any canceled games or canceled fights related to the pandemic. But the thing with DAZN, they've got to be desperate for content, right? They've got to, I mean, look, FS1 and ESPN are the same way. They're probably desperate for content. That's why sometimes I'll be flipping around and I'll put ESPN on. And these video games now look so realistic. It takes me a few seconds for my eyeballs to adjust because I'll put ESPN on and they're airing an NBA game and I'm like, oh, the NBA is back. Like it looks real. And then I see in the corner, I see one guy in the corner of the screen. I see another guy in the corner. They're playing a fucking video game. They're so desperate and starved for content and sports content that they have sports players playing video games on ESPN. And I'll bet that it's actually doing pretty good numbers too. FS1, like I said, FS1 has become like a second WWE network with all the wrestling that they're airing because they are desperate for content. For DAZN, though, they have built their entire business model on this live content that just is not there. And that, I'm guessing, has as much to do with them making a deal with MLW as anything else. Because without sports, what incentive is there for people to pay $20 a month to subscribe to DAZN? There was a Financial Times report recently that claimed that DAZN is desperately looking for ways to save money and stay in business, including just outright selling the company. There was a reporter with the New York Times a few weeks ago who claimed that they were losing hundreds of millions of dollars even before the pandemic. Imagine how much money they're losing now. I think instead of wondering, when will MLW be able to run live events again so they can air some of them on DAZN? The better question to ask may just be, will DAZN even exist by the time MLW starts running shows again?